earlier this morning. So let's see if there's some new stuff in this article. Which teams are desperate for a trade? Where 9 teams check in. Phoenix Suns, extremely high. Phoenix Suns are reaching incel levels of desperation. If they don't get this trade done, I could see a world where the Phoenix Suns are like, ugh, it's always the nice guys that finish last. That's the level of desperations that we are at with the Phoenix Suns. What is with Derek and Chet being always injured? Derek? Oh, Derek Lively? I don't know. Lively's are just, well, before this last injury, have just been these weird, small injuries that add up. Missed 3 games here, 4 games here. Where Chet's had 2 major injuries. Suns have always been an aggressive team, even across regimes they have been. This will be really interesting. I mean, the Jimmy stuff, are we getting to a point? Like, is this happening soon? Milwaukee Bucks desperation level high. So this has been this kind of new development that's come out recently, is that they're actively on the phones trying to trade Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis. Of course, Pat Connaughton, we knew that. There was those reports last year that the Mavs and Bucks had pretty advanced conversations about Grant Williams for Bobby Portis trade, right? The Chris Middleton stuff, not that surprising. He's been coming off the bench, those ankle injuries. Man, I would not like Bradley Beal on their team. I just wouldn't. If they could somehow get Zach LaVine, now that changes things. And I think we had an incendiary bomb today. Do we know if incendiaries? It goes back and forth a lot. Whether or not he's really somebody who's reliable. Wait, was it him who tweeted this? Who tweeted out the 5-team trade? The potential 5-team trade for Jimmy. Was that him? Oh, here it is. Incendiary bomb here. There's a potential 5-team Jimmy Butler trade framework making the rounds today. Suns get Jimmy. Bucks get Zach LaVine. Bulls get Bradley Beal plus draft capital. Heat get Chris Middleton additional assets plus draft capital. Now, I am wondering, isn't this what Bill Simmons and KOC theorized on their podcast? Like, sometimes I wonder if that's just what people say, hey, we're here, and it's just like, I listened to the Bill Simmons podcast 2 days ago. Is this exactly what they talked about? I'm just trying to think, what could the Bulls get? So Bradley Beal, I'm trading away. Okay, if I'm putting myself in the head of these GMs, Suns, absolutely. Fuck yeah, let's do it right now. Bucks, yes, fuck yes, let's do it right now. If I'm the Bulls, I'm saying, you know what? If we're just going off of the last 4 or 5 months, I think I'm trading the best player in this deal. Straight up. I think I'm trading the best player in this package. Why am I getting the worst contract in the NBA in return? And if I am, then what's my draft capital? 2 firsts, 3 firsts? Heat, yeah, you'd probably do this, I think. Chris Middleton allows you to be at least somewhat competitive still. What if they get all 3 of the first-round picks from Phoenix plus more? But then I guarantee you, put our head into the mind of these GMs. The Heat probably say, why am I not getting some first-round picks? I'm giving up the best player in this trade. The Suns, I'm giving up the best player in this. Billy Donovan coached Beal in college. Yes. Facilitator for unwanted salaries plus draft capital. If Zach LaVine were involved, the Bucks should give up their first. So I could see a world where maybe the Bulls get a couple of the Suns' shitty first-round picks, but still first-round picks nonetheless. And maybe they also get a really good-looking Bucks pick. So maybe two of those picks from the Suns, and the Suns save a first for like a salary dump elsewhere. If you're the Raptors and the Suns come to you, Bruce Brown for Nurkic in a first, is that enough? Are we assuming those are shitty? Minnesota going to be good? They are going to be shitty because it's the worst. You're getting the worst pick out of, what were the options? Utah, Minnesota, and Cleveland. Like the worst out of those three teams. Those picks are probably going to be shitty. Maybe you could say, maybe in the future they could be good, but it's kind of funny how Beal could shut the whole trade down, even if everyone else agrees. So my theory is, I know that Beal's agent has come out and said, hey, he's not waiving that no trade clause. My theory is they have had conversations. They've said they haven't. My theory is they wouldn't be moving like this if they didn't think Beal would do it. That's my theory. Obviously, could be very wrong. I'm kind of starting to see the framework of a deal here that does make sense. Right? From the Bucks, I'm much more motivated to go out and get a Zach LaVine than I am a Bradley Beal. Much more motivated. But the Sixers wanted Bradley Beal at one point. Embiid wanted Bradley Beal at one point. The Bucks wanted Bradley Beal before he got traded to the Suns. Maybe the league just views Bradley Beal much differently than we do. That's something to consider. That is just something to consider, that maybe the league just views him differently. I just don't think there's enough draft capital to go around to the Bulls, Heat, and facilitating teams. Let's just say in this hypothetical world, the Suns give up 2 of those picks. The Bucks have, what pick do the Bucks have to use? 2031? That could be a very valuable pick. I mean, that could. Do they even have that to trade? I know the Bucks are very limited in what they have to trade. $2031, and can they even trade that? They can, because they have a pick swap going to Portland for 2030. So if you're the Bucks, Chris Middleton, or maybe another contract or whatever, 2031 first for Zach LaVine. Are you doing that? You would have your defensive issues probably, but offensively, woo, damn. But now if you're Chicago, I get a 2031 first from the Bucks that could be very valuable. I'm getting maybe a couple of shitty firsts, but first nonetheless from the Suns. This trade kind of starts to make some sense. Where in the past I thought there's no way the Suns get Jimmy Butler unless they are just fucking a team. But now it kind of starts to, the pieces start to fall into place a little bit now. It would be funny if Bill was like, I'm not playing in Chicago. As the Bucks have shown going back to when they made the Damian Lillard trade last year, they are determined to maximize every bit of Giannis Antetokounmpo's title window. Yeah, they would trade that 2031 first. The Miami Heat desperation level medium. Sources on both sides of the Butler saga says there's motivation to get a deal done between now and the deadline. The Heat have had conversations with other teams, but so far the offers coming in haven't included what Miami is looking for. Players who can help now. Think about Chris Middleton. Young talent. Don't know what young talent the Heat could get in this theoretical trade here. The Suns can't send anything else out besides Beal. The Bucks could get below the second apron before this trade and then aggregate contracts, but what young player do the Bucks have? Beauchamp? Ugh. Like what? No. I mean, yeah, but no. Like they're not trading Andre Jackson. That would be the one that you ask about. They're not trading him. The Bulls, if I'm the Bulls, I'm like, I'm not giving up a fucking I'm not giving up an exciting young player. I just did that with Zach LaVine. I'm not giving up another one to take on Bradley Beal's shit-ass contract. And draft capital and salaries that expires by the summer of 2026. All right, they're asking for a little too much for my liking. While we haven't seen free agency play a big factor in the league in recent years, that summer could see stars such as Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, and Jaren Jackson Jr. becoming unrestricted free agents. It's always scary, lingering thought in the back of your mind. The Heat are a scary team. When there's teams that have cap space, you look at this year, the teams that have cap space, it's like the Nets, the Pistons, Spurs, okay. That one kind of gets a little interesting. Hornets have cap space. All right, whatever. When the Heat have cap space, that's where it gets a little spooky. No, Luka's going to extend the summer, I bet. For sure. Knicks' desperation level is medium, while the Knicks are on pace to win 50 games in consecutive seasons for the first time in 30 years. How about that, man? How about that? Good for them. A season-long topic of conversation around the Knicks has been the heavy minutes for New York starters. Conversation every year for Tibbs. Mr. Jalen Smith talk. What are your thoughts on him? I don't have many. But while that has reignited long-standing debates over Coach Tom Thibodeau's penchant for leaning on his main players, it has also highlighted New York's lack of depth, something the Knicks were prepared to deal with when they chose to acquire Towns on the eve of training camp. The one real path to changing that, according to sources, is injured center Mitchell Robinson, either by his return to the court or by his inclusion in a trade. I thought about the Knicks a little bit. I don't really see... I think they choose the internal route. I do. Because here's the thing, I guess, for them. Who realistically, let's say Mitchell Robinson is able to return somewhat soon. Who realistically could you get in a trade that has the potential to raise your ceiling higher than Mitchell Robinson, if that makes sense? It's hard to think about that. It's a risk, obviously, but you're always taking risk when you trade guys. Suns like $30 million above the apron. Yeah, Suns aren't getting under the second apron. I was saying the Bucks. The Bucks could trade like Pat Connaughton and get under the apron, second apron. Memphis Grizzlies, desperation level medium. The Grizzlies have vaulted back into contention after injuries derailed them a season ago. That hasn't stopped Memphis from working on the phones. Yeah, remember, they were very close to a Dorian Finney-Smith trade, it sounded like. And they did not sound like they were happy about that deal falling apart. They've got an interesting trade package. You know, they can like combine to get a good amount of money. So that's why I thought the Jimmy to Grizzlies thing make a lot of sense. The Grizzlies are lurking in Butler trade talks. And so this is what makes me think the Grizzlies were like really trying to get Jimmy Butler. That's the only reason I could possibly think of why Jimmy Butler and his side, his group, his party has just openly been like, do not fucking trade me to Memphis. Yeah, I just want to leave the Heat, but not Memphis though. That makes me think that the Grizzlies have been pretty aggressive. I know Jimmy said anywhere but Memphis yesterday. That's why I'm saying. It's like they're a real possibility. Butler, meanwhile, has made it known that he could opt out of his contract this summer and seek free agency. Sources have theorized that if the Grizzlies can't acquire him for a playoff run and also free up cap this space this summer, that's where their interest might lie. Oh, interesting. So the Grizzlies might say, yeah, we're cool if you leave in the summer, actually. That's actually interesting. Chicago Bulls, desperation level medium. I'm interested to see what they do. Where are they at in the standings? They're in the play-in tournament currently. The Bulls are always kind of a wild card. I mean, they're 10th, 19 and 26. God, the play-in is so fucking funny. 7 straight losses for the Sixers. I would say they're pretty safe in the play-in tournament unless the Sixers really turn it on. But do you care if you're the 10 seed? Like at this moment, do you care at all if you're the 10 seed in the East? I'm so interested by a trade that lands the Bucks Zach LaVine. So interested by it. Brooklyn Nets desperation level medium. I would venture to guess that's actually low. Brooklyn has yet to move the player whom league decision makers have labeled as the most likely to be traded over the next 2 weeks. Really? Cam Johnson? I was just about to say, I feel like they'll probably have a high price tag for Cam Johnson. If that's not met, then they'll just keep him. He's openly said he's cool with staying there. He's under contract for how many more years? 2 years after this. He's 28 years old. Bulls got to finish top 10 in the draft. Other pick goes to OKC or Spurs. What? Wait, what? No, there's no way it goes to OKC. No. That's not right. That can't be right. It's got to be this. It's got to be the Spurs, I think. Yeah, Pirtle trade. Wait, no. Bulls? The Bulls were involved in some trade with the Spurs. For DeRozan. Yeah, okay. For DeRozan. Sign and trade. Cam Johnson's interesting. Kings have apparently been very aggressive for him. My thing, though, is, yeah, the Nets have shown that they're cool with hanging on to guys. Lakers desperation level low. Really? While Shams Charania reported on Wednesday that both LeBron James and Anthony Davis are concerned about the team's ability to make roster upgrades, James himself outlined the reality of what the team might be able to do about it after Sunday's blowout loss to the crosstown rival Clippers. That's how our team is constructed, James says. We don't have room for much error. The Lakers' recent discussion with teams shows little sign of aggression, sources say, and those actions speak to their concern level about their stars at the moment. The Lakers have shown a reticence to put their future first-round picks into trades in recent seasons. And there's no indication that that position has shifted. Moving D'Lo actually made it more difficult for the Lakers to swing a bigger deal. Yeah, that's true. I don't think there's a big trade out there for the Lakers. Why does Jimmy want to go to Memphis? I don't know. I really don't. I think he'd be a good fit there. They're competitive. They're good. It just feels like he wants to be in Phoenix. Warriors desperation level low. It should not be. It really shouldn't be. Desperate trades are desperate moves that deplete the future. There is a responsibility on allowing or keeping the franchise in a good space and good spot when it comes to where we leave the thing when we're done, Curry said recently. What an interesting quote that is, huh? That's such a weird, interesting quote for an active player to have, especially an aging active player. That kind of makes it sound that, one, maybe he's just kind of resigned to the fate. This Warriors team, he knows that there's just not really much that they can do. Or maybe it makes me think that he might retire and immediately go into a decision-making role with the Warriors. The other team in Paris, is this the same article? Interesting. I'm so intrigued by this. So intrigued by this 5-team Jimmy Butler trade. It almost sounds too good. Like, it almost makes too much sense. Lakers recently checked in with the Raptors about Jakob Poeltl. That would be really nice, but I doubt he gets traded. The Heat do not want salary back in the Jimmy Butler trade that goes past 2026. The Bucks are shopping Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis. Where is this ending up?